Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today I'm going to review something quite exciting, and it's not quite necessarily you'll be able to buy it from somewhere, although what you'll find is that when you go to liquor stores around wherever you are and you look at the old bottles, the stuff that's been there for years and years, decades, then you might be able to find it. What I'm reviewing today is the Longrow 10-year-old old bottling. You can see the bottling is old bottling. They're quite rare, not because they were made to be rare, because they're old and most of them are gone in people's bellies. And so this is a 10-year-old, and from what I gather it is a 2010 release, which means that 2010 it was 10 years old, so it's about 20 years ago they distilled this roughly. And yeah, so the style would be very, well, not very different, but it'll be a very different experience to what you'll have with normal Longrows. Okay, so a lot of the Longrows now are actually no age statement until you get like a limited edition Longrow or the 18. So this here is a 10-year-old, which is presumably would be one of the entry levels at that time. Yeah, so it's quite a novelty reviewing this. Found this in a old liquor store. A friend found an old liquor store and decided to buy it. We had it on our tasting once to try and side by side it with the more modern versions. So let's see how we go. Let's get nosing. Very mellow smell. A very mellow smell. The peat also is a little prominent, a bit more prominent than your more modern Longrows actually. Or yeah, it's a bit more prominent than your modern Longrows. And the peat is also slightly, it's reminiscent of more of an Isla peat, which is quite interesting. A little oilier, a bit more resiny, a bit more iodine, smokier, and quite more potent actually. Judging by the nose, this is a bourbon barrel, but there's not much information out there, so I think it's a bourbon barrel. I am getting some vanilla, some coconut, which is quite a bourbon barrel type of smell. I'm getting wood and oak. The oak is quite prominent for a 10-year-old. The oak is quite prominent in there. I'm getting some unripe peaches, unripe stone fruit. I'm getting a little bit of a seaside breeze. Slight salinity that I'm getting there. Hint of brown sugar and sugar syrup. And if you look at it carefully, if you smell it carefully enough, a bit of candied ginger around the back of the nose as well. But not too intense on the nose. Quite a subtle nose actually. Let's try it with water. With water, the alcohol comes out a little bit more, but it also becomes a little sickly, a bit more sickly sweet. The brown sugar subsides, it becomes more sugar, just white sugar syrup. I'm not getting too much dunnage on either of the samples, which is interesting because you'd think there would be dunnage, although 10 is a little young to get heavy dunnage, but not too much dunnage. There is a slight funkiness in the end of the nose, but I can't tell you if that is dunnage or just a style. The peat doesn't really change with both samples much. And I'm getting a cotton candy sickly sweetness from the sample with water. Apart from that, the general flavors are similar. But just slight variations in nose. So let's try it. Let's give it a go. The peat's very prominent. The peat's very prominent. In fact, one could be mistaken of saying it's a Kalila. The peat's quite prominent. Not overly sweet actually. A little bit savory, a little salty. It's got a little heat to it. Definitely the candied ginger is coming through. Like a light watered down tea. The tannin is quite pronounced in this bottle. Considering there's only 10, it is quite heavy on the tannins as well. I'm getting a distinct savouriness to this. I'm trying to think of what that is. Sometimes it's quite hard to think of what you just got to tap into your memory. It's slightly meaty. I'm trying to think of what kind of meat it is. I'd say bacon, but not that strong. So I'd say a weak bacon, just a hint of bacon on the nose and the palate when you have this. And I know it sounds strange, but a little bit of that, you know, when you smell an onion from a distance, you've got a little bit of that coming through your nose. So that's what I'm getting from that, like a chivy, slightly oniony smell. But look, everyone's different, but that's what I'm getting from it. Relatively savory, not too sweet. Let's try the sample with water. Not much change with the water at all, actually. No, with the water, the heat increases. Slight burn, heat. It's a pleasant heat. We don't taste a new make spirit kind of heat. It's just a little bit hotter with water. A little spicier. The spice is pronounced more. I'm getting a little bit of black pepper, white pepper. The candied ginger is more pronounced. It becomes a little bit more robust with water, which is interesting. The tannin does subside a little bit with water, but I'm getting a bit more, I'm trying to think of what it is. A hint of orange peel right on the end of the palate with water. The meatiness subsides a little bit as well. And with water, a little bit of that funkiness comes through. Not a huge amount, but just a little bit. You have to really think about it. So I don't know what I like more, actually. Water or no water? Look, I'm going to be on the fence here. I'm going to say have it with no water and then add a few drops, progress it throughout the dram. Yeah, just to experience both. This is quite a novelty bottle. I mean, you can still find liquor stores probably holding onto this for 10 years because Longrow, it's not like every single person knows what Longrow is. You'd have to really be kind of down the rabbit hole or to start at a rabbit hole to know what Longrow and Springbank is generally, because you don't buy them in every liquor store like your average Glenlivet, average Glenfiddich. But I'd say cigar pairings, if you can find this, look, I mean, I wouldn't say it's ultra luxurious. It is very interesting. I'd go for a cigar that's quite oily. It's quite peaty. It's quite smoky. It's a little oily. It's a little resiny, but it's not overly overpowering. I mean, the finish is medium. It's not like it's going to linger in your mouth. And the reason why I think an oily, sweeter double Maduro cigar would be quite good with this, or an oily cigar like an Undercrown, a Nica Rustica, a Añejo, a Tura Fuente, and that sort of cigar, is because I think that this will actually benefit from that oiliness sensation in the mouth from the cigars. But look, if you find yourself a Longrow or a Springbank that looks kind of like this with these kind of labels, get it straight away because it is uber collectible, and it's an old expression of Springbank and Longrow, and it's always pretty cool to get those because, you know, it's always good to side by side them. I wish I had another entry level Longrow to side by side with this, but I don't. Thank you very much for joining me today, and don't forget to eat, smoke and drink. See you until next time. Have you tried the older Longrows and Springbanks? What are your thoughts? Let me know. I would love to know your thoughts on that one, and see you again until next time.